शारदा शारदा जगज्जननी दुःखहरणी जगज्जननी दुःखहरणी ज्वालामुखी मात सरस्वती शारदा 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 विद्यादानि दयानि शारदा 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 कीजे कृपा दृष्टि सेवक पर अपने अपने कीजे कृपा दृष्टि सेवक पर अपने नारायणी सेत कमलासनी नारायणी सेत कमलासनी नारायणी सेत कमलासनी नारायणी सेत कमलासनी सेत सेत अंकिनी सेत 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 अंकिनी सेत 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 अंकिनी सेत अश्विनी हर पार्वती शारदा 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 Next song I will sing was composed by Kanchi Paramacharya, and it's Maitri Bhajana. मैत्रीं भजता अखिल हृजेत्रीं मैत्रीं भजता अखिल हृजेत्रीं मैत्रीं भजता अखिल हृजेत्रीं आत्मवदेव पराणपि पश्यत आत्मवदेव पराणपि पश्यत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत युद्धं त्यजत स्पर्धां त्यजत त्यजत परेष्वक्रममाक्रमणम् त्यजत परेष्वक्रममाक्रमणम् मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजेत्रीं मैत्रीं भजत अखिल हृजेत्रीं जननी पृथिवी कामधुगास्ते जननी पृथिवी कामधुगास्ते जनको देवा सकल दयालु जनको देवा सकल दयालु दाम्यत दत्त दयध्वं जनत दाम्यत दत्त दयध्वं जनत श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयो भूयात् श्रेयो भूयात् श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकल जनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां श्रेयो भूयात् सकलजनानां.
Thank you again to all the music singers today to help us begin this program. And I would just like to add a couple of program notes today. We are broadcasting live on YouTube. So if you're out there and you receive the email, please search for Vedanta Cleveland. And on that same channel, we'll be posting a video of the entire event later today. A little bit about Vedanta Center of Cleveland. This started as a very small group of folks inspired by some very able people who had the vision to start the center 4 years ago. And we celebrated our anniversary in May. And we have had a lot of esteemed Swamijis come from all over, from Chicago, Washington, D.C. We have been very blessed, and I'm sure we will be equally blessed today and tomorrow. So there's an event tomorrow also on the east side. So I hope all of you are aware of that and will attend that and keep supporting us. And I would like to say a few words about Swamiji, if with Swamiji's permission, because the last time I did this, I was sort of reminded not to make the introductions too long, but I'm just going to read from the website. Swami Sarvapriyanandaji has been minister and spiritual leader of the Vedanta Society of New York since January 2017. Prior to this, he served as assistant minister of the Vedanta Society of Southern California for 13 months, beginning December 2015. And Swamiji joined the Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission in 1994 and received sannyas in 2004. Before being posted to the Vedanta Society of Southern California's Hollywood Temple, Swamiji served as an acharya or teacher of the Monastic Probationers Training Center at Belur Mutt. He has served the Ramakrishna Mutt and Mission in various capacities, including being the principal of the Deoghar Vidyapith Higher Secondary School, principal of the Shikshashan Mandir Teacher Education College at Belur Mutt, and the first registrar of the Vivekananda University at Belur Mutt. So we are delighted and honored to have Swamiji talk to us today, and the title of his talk is The Five Sheets. Without further ado. Okay. And after the talk, Swamiji will take questions, and he will moderate the question and answer session. Yes. It's all right. Can you hear me? At the back? No? Yes. All right. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Good evening, everybody. And wonderful to see so many people interested in Vedanta gathered here. Today, the subject is, of course, in Vedanta, you have only one subject, which is our own reality, what we really are. Vedanta says that we really do not know what we are. And if we were to know who or what we really are, all our problems would be solved at the most fundamental level.
So there are many approaches to this. Basically, the subject is self-knowledge, knowledge about ourselves. And many approaches in Vedanta. In fact, probably each of the Upanishads, the root texts of each Upanishad, that will not work. I think you have to take the kid upstairs. In fact, each of the Upanishads being the root texts of Vedanta, each of the Upanishads has its own unique approach to this question, the question of self-knowledge. So today, this evening, I'm going to take up one of these many approaches. One of my favorites, I would say. You find this in the Taittiriya Upanishads, one of the major Upanishads. By the way, when we say major Upanishad or minor Upanishad, a point of clarification here, Adi Shankaracharya, about 1400 years ago, he selected some of the Upanishads for writing his famous commentaries on, Bhashya commentaries. So the ones he selected, 10 we know for sure. The 11th one, Shvetashvatara, is a little iffy. So these are called the major Upanishads, just because he selected them and they form the basis of what we today know as the school of Advaita Vedanta. And Taittiriya Upanishad is one of them. In fact, it is said that it was the first one selected by Shankaracharya to write a commentary on. Now, in that Upanishad, which has 3 chapters, the second chapter is known as Brahmananda Valli, the chapter on the bliss of Brahman, also known as Ananda Valli or Brahma Valli. So what I'm going to talk about today is the unique method given in that section, in that chapter of the Taittiriya. So we'll take a look at that today. In fact, the very first sentence of the Brahmananda Valli, I think it encapsulates all of spirituality, all of Vedanta certainly. It goes like this. Brahma vidapnoti param. The knower of Brahman attains the highest. Brahmavid, the knower of Brahman, apnoti, attains, param, the highest. Now, if you expand this sentence, you get the entirety of Vedanta actually. Everything is packed into this sentence. And in fact, the rest of the chapter, the second chapter of the Taittiriya Upanishad, has been regarded as an expansion of this one central key sentence. Once you say this, the knower of Brahman attains the highest, immediately 3 questions come to our mind, or at least should come to our mind. What is Brahman? So what is this blessed Brahman you keep talking about? And how do you know Brahman? You're supposed to be talking about knowing Brahman. In fact, immediately after this sentence, in the rest of the paragraph, in the rest of the section, you find the next few sentences answer these 3 questions. What is Brahman? How do you know Brahman? And what do you mean by attaining the highest? This section. It goes like this. Tadeshabhyukta, it is said in this way in the Vedas. Satyam jnanam anantam brahma. What is Brahman? Brahman is infinite existence consciousness. Question 1, answered. You might go scratching your head, not quite answered. That doesn't make it much clearer. Wait, that's the subject today, later on today. It'll become very clear as language can make it. And then the second question, how do you actually know this Brahman? Let it be infinite existence, consciousness, whatever is it, how do you actually know this? How do you realize it? The next sentence goes, Satyam jnanam anantam brahma. Yo Veda nihitam guhayam parame vyoman. You have to realize it as residing in the sacred space within the cave of the heart. The cave of the heart. Whatever that is. So that's the way of realizing. Actually, what the Upanishad, the teacher wants to say is, realize as yourself. How is this Brahman to be realized? Not as that is Brahman or there is some Brahman in the heaven or something like that. There may well be. But what is meant here is you have to realize it as yourself. I am Brahman. That is the knowledge being aimed at. Aham Brahmasmi. And before we proceed any further, the third question. What do you get? what's the whole project here? Or as in America, you would say, what's the deal? Well, the deal is this. There can be no higher deal. The deal is this. Attainment of the highest. What is the attainment of the highest? So ashnute sarvan kaman saha brahmana vipashchiteti. That person, the one who realizes, I am Brahman, in the way mentioned, attains the fulfillment of all desires. By that very knowledge of Brahman, by that realization of Brahman, attains the fulfillment of all desires. I can see smiles coming up, but hold on. Does that mean all my Christmas wishes, the entire list will be fulfilled? I get all of them, what I want, you know? The kids get their PlayStations, and I get that spiffy new car, and I get a raise, and I magically lose weight and whatnot. Whatever I want, all of that I get it if I know Brahman? No. Sorry to disappoint you. But actually you get something much more. By realizing Brahman, that I am Brahman, what we get is, by trying to get all these things, whether it's $1 million or being very famous or being rich and young and beautiful or whatever and successful, by all these means, what are we trying to do? We are trying to find lasting peace and happiness. Profound, limitless joy and happiness. We are trying to overcome suffering. In Sanskrit, dukkha nivritti, overcome suffering and attainment of ultimate bliss, ananda prapti. So that is what is meant by attainment of the highest. That's what you get. In fact, that's what's understood as moksha, the highest goal of humanity. Literally, moksha means freedom. You know, the way it is put in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, all the Indian traditions, ultimate freedom, moksha, kaivalya, nirvana, whatever you call it, we have this commonly accepted idea of a cycle of births and deaths. We are going through a cycle of births and deaths, and we have had many lives earlier, and we are not going to die when the body dies, and that's not good news. We are going to continue. We're going to repeat this. There's a phrase in America, Groundhog Day or something like that. They call it repeating. So it's more or less variations on that. So as you can see, after some time, it can become tiring. Even if you don't remember it, if you are tired of it, you are a mature soul. Even if you don't remember having been around many, many times, we carry the samskaras, the spiritual evolution from life to life. So very soon, certain things which might interest other people, certain things others might find fascinating, you are, well, it's all right, it's interesting, doesn't hold your attention much. Why not? Why do people seem to be at different levels of maturity? Doesn't have anything to do with age. So it's that progression, spiritual progression. Ultimately, you realize yourself as the infinite, and you don't have to undertake these limited journeys. The book of life is finished for you. Each life is like a page, in Vivekananda's words. Each life is like a page that the soul is reading and turning over. And you go on. The book of life is finished for you. You can return it to the library. Thank you very much. But now the peculiar problem here is that this idea, which is commonly accepted in India, in the Indic religions, of multiple lives, all ruled and guided by and propelled, fueled by the law of karma. This is sort of axiomatic in Indian philosophy. That is not so in the West, because of the Abrahamic roots of most of Western civilization. It's one life. And so many lives, and we're trying to escape that. It doesn't really cut much ice here. One might just as well say, I don't know, I know this one life. Many past lives, many future lives seems to be speculation. So how do you redefine moksha, which can be something that is acceptable and inspiring for everybody in the world? Then that redefinition is actually attainment of peace and joy and overcoming suffering. Dukkha nivritti, overcoming suffering, and attainment of lasting, deep peace and joy. That, I think, is something that everybody can sign on for, whether you believe in many lives or you do not. Basically, the whole thing about many lives can be reduced to this. The Buddha's quest. There is suffering. Is there a way out of suffering? So basically, it's the same thing. In fact, in all of Indian philosophy, with the exception of the Charvaka, the materialist, in all of Indian philosophy, in one sense, even the Charvaka, all of Indian philosophy is basically how do we overcome suffering and how do we really have fulfilling life. So that's the point. Here Vedanta says by realizing Brahman. And what is this Brahman? Brahman is your own real nature, what you really are, what we really are. Vivekananda would often say in this country, if only you knew yourselves as you really are, again and again. Never approach anything except as God. Because the idea of Brahman in Vedanta is, it is your own reality. It is what we really are. We do not know ourselves as that. But it is also the reality of everything else. So everything else in the world is Brahman actually, when you truly know it. When you pierce through the veil of Maya, you realize things as they are. It is Brahman. And when we know ourselves as Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. And what is this Brahman? We just got the definition. Infinite existence and consciousness. Sat and Chit. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahman is Anantam, limitless existence consciousness. But that's not our subject. It's very interesting actually, you know, that when you talk about God and religion, we often talk, I've seen debates on the internet between theists and atheists, with Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins going after an assortment of rabbis and pastors and different people who believe in religion. And often you will immediately catch on that they seem to be talking about different things. What exactly is the God that you're debating on? The existence of God and not existence of God? It's not very clear what they're talking about. And most of the scriptures really do not help us. They talk in vague terms, mysterious terms. But in Vedanta, you have actually very precise, very clear definitions. God is a term, I've been criticized for using the term God loosely because Brahman is not quite equivalent to the idea of God in Abrahamic traditions. But it will do. It's an old word, much used and abused, God, but it will do. It's a close approximation. In fact, the closest would be Ishvara or Saguna Brahman in Vedantic terms. But a precise definition, infinite existence consciousness. You'll say, Swami, that does not take me much farther. That still sounds very vague and totally philosophical, metaphysical. Well, I have a talk. That's a different talk altogether. I have a talk on this, defining God. If you look it up, you search for it, you'll find it. The whole talk is based on this short, precise God. Don't worry, you will be happy with that. What is that ultimate reality about myself and about the world? Infinite existence consciousness. It's a fantastic definition. If you look up that, it's so logical. It has two clear merits in my eyes. First, it's extraordinarily logical. It's a densely packed series of arguments. And second, it relates to our experience. It's immediately, I wouldn't say provable. I'm using my words carefully here. It can be indicated in our experience here and now. That's the beauty. Anyway, not our topic. Another talk. Today, our topic, we go further. We go beyond all of this. Once you say you have to realize Brahman as yourself, and this Brahman is infinite existence consciousness, we scratch our heads and say, but how? How do we do that? Can you give me a method? The next part of the Taittiriya Upanishad, what follows this, is a method. And that is our proper subject this evening. What is the method for realizing that I am Brahman, for realizing my true nature as Vedanta would have it, as infinite existence consciousness? So this method is the unique method of the 5 sheets, 5 coverings, as it were, of my real self. And it starts right after this proclamation that if you know yourself as you truly are, how do you know it? What was indicated? You realize yourself as Brahman in the sacred space of the cave of the heart. Note the words, the cave of the heart. The heart. What is the heart here? Not the physiological heart. In the commentary, Shankaracharya says, Buddhi Guha. The heart is basically our awareness, understanding, more precisely the intellect. the one which we are using now, hopefully, to understand this, that one is the cave. And in that, right there, lies the reality about yourself, about ourselves. A later writer, a later master, Vidyaranya, who wrote the classic, non-dualist classic Panchadashi, 15 chapters on non-dualism, about 700 years ago in the north of Karnataka, south of Andhra Pradesh, the famous Vijayanagar kingdom. He has a chapter on this method. And he gives a slightly different interpretation. The cave, he says, is the entire human personality, not just the intellect. The whole thing, what we now consider ourselves to be, consider that to be the cave. And we are invited into a journey into this cave. Within the cave, in the depths of this cave, sits a lion. The Atman is often, the real self is often compared to a lion, but you need not be scared of that. Don't be scared of that lion, because it's you. You are that lion, the real self, which we are going to discover today, this evening. So let's go on a journey with the Taittiriya Upanishad, with a guide like Vidyaranya, with Shankaracharya, into the darkness within which, in the depths of which shines a light, the light of consciousness, of existence, consciousness, bliss. So we will undertake that journey. Still haven't started, but I'm going to start now. What we will do is, as we go through this method, remember, it's a key point to understand. In Vedanta, the journey is not a journey in space. You're not actually physically going from one place to another. Where do I find God? You have to go to heaven to find God. It's another place. In fact, I saw a big board. Heaven is a place. Call 855 for the truth. That's the way every dualistic religion, there's a meaning to it. There's a meaning to it. But that's not what we're talking about in Vedanta. Not going from one place to another. It's also not a journey in time. When will you find God? The ultimate reality, whatever it is. After death. Look at the word after. After is a time word. Before and after. Not now. After death. Well, after death is nice. If I say that, I'm safe. You can't catch me now. You say, where is Brahman? After death. And after that, you can't catch me if you don't find God. But Vedanta says all the time and everywhere. Brahman is everywhere and all the time. If Brahman is everywhere and all the time, then Brahman is here and now. And the Upanishad says, you are Brahman, which makes for a very difficult proposition that I am Brahman right here, right now. Why don't I know it? Why don't I feel it? So Vedanta is a journey not in space, not from one place to another place. Vedanta is a journey not in time, from one time to another time. Vedanta is a journey from ignorance to knowledge. Something is right now, right here. We don't see it. And Vedanta wants us to see it. Vedanta is trying to help us to see it. Why I'm saying this is, the moment I say, here is a technique, here is a method, you know what's there in our minds? All right, I'll learn this. Maybe I'll take down notes. And then tomorrow I'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and start practicing this technique. It's not a technique to be practiced. This technique is a pointing out. You can do it right now, right here. Even if you get it, if we get it, when people say intellectually, basically enlightenment, realization, what you understand with the intellect, what you get clarity with the intellect, realization is basically a great deepening of that. It's not something separate. I've understood something, now I have to do something. Rather, that seeing must become absolutely crystal clear, unshakable. Just as you think you are Sham or John or Mary, you don't have to keep on thinking that. You don't have to, I think I'm Sarva Priyananda. Sometimes I get confused. When I come to Vedanta class, I know I'm Sarva Priyananda, but outside that, I forget it. Never happens. Never happens. I know about my identity. That kind of clarity, even more so. It is possible right here, right now. So that's something to keep in mind. The method that the Upanishad is going to talk about, it's not something that you can do it later, certainly. But while we are doing it now, while we are exploring it, That is the method. That exploration itself is the method. So you're actually practicing it now if you follow step by step. Follow. I remember when we were kids, we used to read these Tintin comics. I'm so happy to see yesterday for a little boy was reading Tintin comics. I had not seen it for so many years. In one of those comics, I still remember, there's this professor, calculus, and there is Tintin, and there's a Captain Haddock, and the Thompson twins, and so on. And the professor is explaining how nuclear fission works in one of the comics. So he is walking, and people are walking behind him. He's explaining how a nuclear reactor works, and he's talking about how an atom splits. And then he looks back and says, "Are you following me?" And from his expression, you can see Captain Haddock actually doesn't understand anything of what's going on. He's scowling fiercely, and he says, "Of course, I'm right behind you." Not that kind of following. We have to walk with the Upanishad, with the teacher, into the cave of the heart, into ourselves. Not physically into ourselves, as a doctor might do, a surgeon might do while operating. Not that kind of physically going inside. Subtler and subtler. Upanishad will point it out. At no point will the Upanishad say anything which is not there right now. Till the very end, till it reveals yourself as infinite existence consciousness. Till that point, Upanishad will not say one thing, I promise you, which is not within our experience right now. Let's undertake the journey. Upanishad says, you don't understand yourself as Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss. No. Well, what do you understand yourself as? And we almost certainly we will say, why? I am this. Here. This is who I am. The body, and we might say, yeah, that's at least part of it, or at least most of it. I am this person, this thing. All right, let's start with the body. The Upanishad, like any good teacher, instead of jumping up straight into the unknown, known to unknown, near to the far, and from what is to what shall be. We used to teach these as the golden rules of teaching for trainee teachers. And Upanishad does that. In classical Sanskrit literature, this is known as the Arundhati Nyaya or Shakha Chandra Nyaya. They're different names. The Shakha Chandra Nyaya or the Arundhati Nyaya is this. It seems in traditional Indian weddings, and somebody told me that even now it's done in some weddings. The bride faint star called the Arundhati. It's very faint, out like that. There it is. The girl is going to make a mistake. She can't. It's too faint. So the way they do it is, look at this tree. Okay, look at the topmost branch of that tree. Okay, and just above the branch you see a bright star. Somebody said you see the moon, but I don't think anybody has to be pointed out. To point out the moon, you don't have to look at a branch. And so that bright star, and near the bright star to its left, you see a less bright star, and immediately to its vicinity you see a faint dim star, and that is the Arundhati star. And the girl gets it. Okay, basically the idea is proceeding from the more solid, the more gross, to the subtle, to the more physical, to the more subtle, to the more ethereal. So that's how we are going to go. Start with the body. Everybody knows. Body is not speculative. Body is not philosophical. It's this here. Everybody knows the body. Are you the body? And the Upanishad says, all right, so Atma, I'm going to show you the real self, Atma, in the cave of the heart, in the cave of the entire human personality. Start with the outermost cave system, which is the physical body. And the Upanishad calls it Annamaya Atma. Maya means in Sanskrit Vikarata. So what is this body? It's basically a modification of food. In case you're wondering where all those pretzels went, southwest, you can see some pretzels walking around, basically. The Tibetan Buddhists have meditation on this, to show how much we actually consume. It says the yogi sits in meditation, or the Lama, and imagines how rice or dal in lunch and what I had for breakfast spread out in front. To it, what I had last night and in the afternoon and in the morning, Imagine the amount of rice and dal and bread and vegetables which you had the whole last week. Quite a big amount. The whole of the last month, all together, spread out in front of you. And the whole of the last year, what we have eaten, each of us, all in front, put together. And what we have consumed in the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years of life, house will not be enough to hold it. You have to put it out on the lawn there. Mountains of rice, lakes of dal, all one person, each of us. They're supposed to meditate like this and just think. It's a fact. You cannot deny it. In the last 40 years, 50 years of my life, this is the enormous amount of resources which I have consumed. And that's just food. What have I got at this point to show for it? What have I got? What have I achieved to show for all of that? We never think in that way. And that's a fact of life. Anyway, that is this body. This is what has come of all that eating and drinking. Annamaya. So are you the body? Seem to be. But notice these facts. The Upanishad is, Vedanta is very subtle, little by little. Notice these facts. The body changes. Yes, it does. The body which was there as a baby. And imagine your body now. Such a huge difference. Body as a toddler, as a little child, as a teenager, a young person, middle-aged person, a senior person. Enormous difference in the body. Continuous change. And yet you feel, I am the same person. How can the changing and the unchanging be the same? How can the changing body and your intuition of yourself as the same person be the same? It cannot be. What is that same person? We will see later. But clearly it cannot be the body because it changes. Another reason. When I give these reasons, we are supposed to understand them intellectually, but also more important, not just understand it intellectually, actually see it as a fact. Second, there are multiple such reasons which are given in Vedanta. I'll share this with you. And what you experience and the experiencer, they are two different entities. That's how we see it. I can see the microphone, I can see the end of that room because it's different from my eyes. The eyes can see this because this is a different entity and my eyes are a different entity. In fact, the only thing that the eyes cannot see are the eyes themselves. The limit of the vision of the eyes is not distance. What's in a distance, you can use a telescope and see it. It's not something that's tiny because you can use a microscope and see it. The limit of the vision of our eyes is the eyes themselves, right? What they cannot see. I know what's going through some of your minds at least. I can see my eyes in a mirror. You can see a reflection of your eyes in the mirror. Yeah. Picture, take a selfie. But that's a picture of your eyes. The way the eyes directly see other things, they don't see themselves in that way. The limit of the eye, vision of the eyes is the eyes themselves. Similarly, the knower must be different from the known. The body, you see the body. Therefore, you, the knower, must be different from the body. You see it, you hear it, you smell it, you can taste it, you touch it. All five senses operate on the body. Therefore, a body is something experienced. It's an object. You are the experiencer. Not speculation. It's our experience. You can just check it now. So, I as the experiencer, drashta, and the body is drishya. Drashta and drishya must be different. Experiencer and experiencer are usually different. So, I am different from the body. Second reason. One more reason. Many, many reasons can be given. Another reason is, let's try this one. It's a subtle one, but very powerful. You are aware of the body. The body is not aware of you. You are sentient. You are consciousness. The body is insentient and object of consciousness. Look at the body. You are looking. What is the sensation you get? I am looking at my hands. I don't feel that my hands are looking at me. That would be scary. The hand just said hello. No. You feel that you are a sentient being aware of your body. That's how you feel. If you just examine your experience, phenomenologically, just look at your experience. I am aware of the body. If you are aware of the body, then who is conscious? You are conscious, whatever you are. The body is not conscious of you. You are conscious of the body. So this in Sanskrit is called chit jada. You are chit, consciousness. Body is insentient. It seems to be conscious. Why? Because you are present there. You, I, we are the sentient beings embodied within this body. Hence the body, like a light put in a, say, a glass case. The glass case is not luminous. The globe on which you put on the light, that's not luminous. It's the light inside which is luminous. But the whole thing seems luminous because of the light present within. The body seems conscious because I am present here. But clearly, I am aware of the body. The body is not aware of me. Even the very concept is silly. You are chit, body is jada. These three will do. You are unchanging, avikari, nirvikara in Sanskrit. And body is changing, savikara. Vikara means change, modification. Continuous change, body. Then you are the experiencer, drashta. Body is drishya. They must be separate. You are sentient, aware, chit. Body is jada, insentient. Because of these reasons and many more. I can give you half a dozen more right now. But because of these reasons, if you see, try to see the body as, definitely the body is there. Definitely we have a feeling of being embodied, but I am not the body. I am not the body. Okay, I can live with that. But think about the consequences, enormous consequences. If you moment you say, I'm not the body, you can't say, you can't lament now, I'm fat. I want to be skinny. No, you can't lament that because you are neither fat nor skinny. How can consciousness be fat? How can consciousness be skinny? Yes, body might be overweight, the body might require slimming, or body might require putting on weight, whatever it is. Not me. Not me. Sick, ill, birth and death. Enormous thing, you know, fear of death immediately goes when you say that I'm not the body. Subtle point. I'm not saying the body will not die. The body will die. Vivekananda was very clear on this point. Saints die and sinners die. Emperors die and paupers die. The most learned of people die. The most ignorant of people die. Death of the body is what we call death. That will happen to everybody. To us also. But it is not our death. So I'm not the body. Okay, I'm not the body. So what am I? Let us go further into the cave. This is the first step, first outer system of the cave. This is called Annamaya, made of food and drink. Let's go deeper into the cave. Deeper does not mean, we say inside and inside, but inside does not mean physically inside. Because if you go physically inside the body, what do you find? What do doctors find? The body, more of the body. Messier stuff inside. Just because it's packed into a skin, it seems nice. Inside, it's really, often sthula sharira in Sanskrit is translated into English as gross body. Now, in gross in America, it means something else. It means messy, awful. And in a sense, it's not wrong, actually. Gross, the way it is translated, simply means physical. But in America, it means messy and, smelly and awful, gross. And it is true. The body, no matter how nice it seems, the stuff inside the body is pretty gross. All right. So inside the body is not in that sense inside. It means subtler, inward, in our awareness of ourselves. What's the next thing that comes up? Physical body, subtler to this, inward to this, more towards what? More towards the heart of being, towards yourself. The awareness which we are, more towards ourselves. What do we feel? The next thing we become aware of, less gross, more subtle, is life itself, prana. Upanishad says prana. This was something that was common in all ancient cultures, this idea of a life force. Today, it is subsumed under multiple processes in physiology. In a living body, all of a living body, all of this is due to a life force called prana. In Sanskrit, it was called prana. In China, they called it chi. In Japan, they called it ki. In Greek, they called it pneuma, I think. So anyway, this idea, and the word they used was a vital breath, because the first indicator of life, what we consciously feel, is this breathing. Breathing. Breath. Breath itself, when you say pranayama in yoga, you practice pranayama, control of the breath, but actually it is control of the life forces, because the breath is most evident. That's why we start with that. We control that. So prana, am I life? That seems to be a better candidate, because it's that life which holds this body together. The moment a person dies, in every language in the world, we have analogous phrases, which say the life has gone out of him. And they meant it literally in those days, that there was a life force which leaves the body. The moment it leaves the body is considered to be dead. So am I the life force? Prana. Upanishad says, Anyo antaratma pranamaya. So the real self is deeper into the cave. It is called the pranamaya. It is not annamaya, not the food sheet. The food self now becomes the sheath. It can be called the kosha. The commentaries call it kosha. Upanishad itself does not use the word sheath. It's not the self. The real self is something inwards, pranamaya. It is the vital forces. Then what about the physical body? It becomes a covering. Why a covering? Because clearly the vital forces are inside. So I am life and I'm covered by this physical body. So the physical body, the food sheet, it's called the food sheet, annamaya kosha. Kosha means that which covers. So I am covered by this food sheet. Inside I am this life force. But are you really the life force? Apply those three criteria. Does the life force change? Oh, yes, it does. Breathe in and I breathe out. I am sometimes hungry, sometimes satiated, sometimes full, sometimes energetic, sometimes tired, sometimes healthy, sometimes sick. Health and sickness. Ayurveda understands this very well. It's actually a function of the pranamaya, not the annamaya. We see health and sickness in the physical body, but the proper, deeper, holistic treatment is of the prana, not of the physical body. If you treat the subtle roots of the disease is much more easily cured rather than treating it externally. Anyway, so prana. Now, does it change? It changes. Throughout the day, it changes. Sometimes you feel tired, energetic, sometimes sick, sometimes healthy, sometimes hungry, sometimes full. All of these, hunger and thirst, health and illness, energy, lack of energy, all of these are movements in the tide of life in this body, rising and receding. I am the same person who felt hungry, and I'm the same person who feels full. I couldn't eat one more cookie. I'm the same person who felt sick. Now I feel healthy. Same person. Prana changes. How can the changing and the unchanging be the same thing? Savikara, nirvikara, same argument. Second, you are the sentient observer of the prana. The prana is something that is observed. It's an object. Is it not? Think about it. And there's a whole industry built on this. Mindfulness meditation. Nowadays they're teaching kids also. I was, my hosts in a particular house estate, when the little kid in the house, when she became very restless and running around shouting, the mother would say, mindfulness, and she would sit quiet. 30 seconds. But she's been taught a technique by the teachers, which consists in observing the breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Be aware that when you're breathing in, be aware that you're breathing in. Be aware that when you're breathing out, be aware that you're breathing out. Very simple. What could be simpler than this? Breathing in and breathing out. Highly recommended. But what Advaita Vedanta takes away from this, it's a beautiful way of calming the mind, by the way, becoming mindful. But what Vedanta takes away from this is, in that case, the prana, the breath, is an observed object. And you are the observer. If you're watching your breath, who is watching? You are watching. What are you watching? The breath. If you are watching the breath, then you can't be the breath. Because the observer and the observed, the experiencer and the experience, drashta and drishya are different. Yes, they're different. I cannot be the breath because I'm aware of it. It's an object. And the third point, consciousness. Am I conscious of the breath, or is the breath conscious of me? I am conscious of the breath. Chit, jada, sentient, insentient. Because the breath, the prana changes, I am the unchanging observer. I'm unchanging, and the prana is changing. Because I'm the observer, the prana is observed. Because I am sentient, the prana is not sentient, then I cannot be the prana. Immediately the Upanishad says, let's go deeper into the... Remember, we are going into a cave, into deeper and deeper within ourselves. Let's go deeper into the cave. The prana, like the physical body, it becomes a sheath, a covering. So now I have two coverings. The real self. I've already agreed. The body can't be the real self. It is Annamaya Kosha. The prana, life forces, cannot be the real self. It is Pranamaya Kosha. Immediately the Upanishad says, what is deeper than the prana? What is subtler than the prana? The mind. The mind. Anyantaratma Manomaya. The real self is deeper. It's a mind. Let's look deeper. The mind. Thoughts, memories, ideas and emotions. All of this is the mind. Mana. Intellect is also the mind, but in this system, it is separated from the mind to treat it separately. So the mind, am I the mind? This is where most sensitive, educated, thoughtful persons will stop. Look at the word, sensitive, educated, thoughtful. Where is sensitivity, education, and thought? Mind. So we stop there. Yeah, that's who I am. I am the mind in this body and prana. In two sheets, I am the mind. But let's apply the same logic. Does the mind change? I can see smiles. You say, oh boy, does it change? It really changes. Thousands and thousands of thoughts, ideas, feelings, desires, likes, dislikes. How many times since the morning after you've woken up have you been bored? How many times excited? How many times irritated? How many times happy? Smiley face. How many times? How many times have you wanted something? How many times have you been satisfied, frustrated? How many times have you remembered? How many times you tried to remember and forget? All of this in one day, from the morning waking up till now. Mind changes. Fast. Much faster than the body, much faster than the prana. Mind is subject to change. I, on the other hand, I am the same person who was annoyed. I'm the same person who is happy. I'm the same person who had a desire. I'm the same person whose desire has been satisfied. The mind changed, but I am the same person. Because I don't say that somebody else was annoyed and I am happy. No, I was the one who was annoyed. Annoyance and happiness have changed. I, same. Annoyed I, happy I, one. I remember in one place I was just a few weeks ago, where these two teenagers, they're singing a very nice song, funny song. It went something like this. Happy llama, sad llama. Mentally disturbed llama. I didn't know whether they meant the Buddhist monk lama or the Andes, the camel-like creature. So I Googled it. Actually, there's such a song, and it is a double L lama. So it's the South American, the camel. But whether the lama is happy or sad or even poor thing is mentally disturbed, all of them, same lama. That means I am not the mind. Changing mind, unchanging I. How can I be the mind? And then second, is the mind observed? Is it an object? Is it something that you can see? Normally we don't think that way. We think objects are out there. At the most I can understand the body is an object. At the most I can understand even the breath is an object. But is the mind an object? You might say no, but can you observe it? Yes, you can. You can observe it. There's a word for it. It's called introspection. Happy, but I didn't feel anything. Totally. So miserable. But of course, I don't feel any of that misery. How are you miserable then? All the emotions, thoughts, we experience it continuously. Directly we experience it. If we experience the thoughts and emotions, then they are objects. They are objects. That they are not me. I am the observer. the thoughts and emotions are objects. Drashta, drishya. And same argument. Sentient. This is quite remarkable actually. Normally we never think that the mind is not sentient. Even in modern consciousness studies, one thing they're very sure of is what is sentient is the mind, what is conscious is the mind. But if you apply a logic and experience, clearly, I am aware of my mind. My mind is not aware of me. A simple experiment. Tell yourself your own name mentally. My name is Swami. I just said that mentally. That's in the mind. Now, clearly, I was aware of the thought. And that thought, my name is Swami, was not aware of me. When you put it like that, it seems absolutely obvious. How can a thought be aware of you? You are aware of the thoughts in your mind. You see? Mind is insentient. It seems sentient, just like that bulb, because the light within. Consciousness, I am awareness in the mind. That's why the mind radiates with light. But mind itself has no sentience. I lend it light. Mind is thoughts, emotions, desires, likes and dislikes, and all of that. Memory. I am not the mind. Savikara, nirvikara, drashta, drishya, chit, jada. Because of that, I am not the mind. Deeper. Upanishad immediately says, let's go deeper into the cave. We are pretty deep into the cave now. Physical body. The life forces. That's all I can show you. The rest is thoughts in the mind. Beyond that, deeper, even the mind is a sheath which covers you. You're not the mind. It's a covering for you, the real you. No more than the light is that globe. The light globe covers the actual light. Anyantaratma vijnanamayaha. The Upanishad says the next level of the cave, the deeper. Almost we are at the very end of the cave. Deepest level, almost. It's called Vijnanamaya, the level of intellect. Basically, it's the mind they have separated into intellect and everything else. Why? One reason is because we are using, or at least we are supposed to use intellect for all of this. To understand this, to comprehend, to grasp this. So that is the subtlest part of the mind. Vijnanamaya. Vijnana here means intellect or buddhi. In Sanskrit, buddhi. Exactly the faculty, what do I mean by intellect? In Sanskrit, it's defined, Vedanta, nishchayatmika buddhi. That which gives clarity and understanding, conviction, clarity. You're working on a math problem. You're working on it. That experience is the mind. The moment you crack it, when you get it, you have an aha moment. That's the intellect. Buddhi, nishchayatmika buddhi. Am I that? That seems to be the last refuge of myself. The one which I am thinking right now, who's doing all this processing, that I must be that. But apply the same logic. Does it change? You tell me. Do your ideas and convictions change? Do you experience not understanding and then do you experience understanding? You don't? You do. You do. Yes, the buddhi changes. And I am the same person who did not get it. I am the same person who got it. Not getting it and getting it. The state of the buddhi, the intellect has shifted. How can I be the buddhi which has changed? I am the same person. What am I who said I don't get it? What am I who said I get it now? But getting and not getting is the buddhi. It's an app. Like your smartphone has apps. The buddhi, the mind, the breath, even the physical body. Physical body is like the body of the phone maybe. But the rest of it is like an app. The prana can be, oh good. It's a new metaphor that occurred to me now. Let's see how, push it and see how far it goes. The prana is the power pack, the battery. That's how the prana functions. When you say my phone died, oh, it even works there. You say my phone died. It's basically the prana going out, so that it works there too. And the rest of it, the operating system is like the mind, the basic part of the mind. And then you have multiplicity of apps. You have the memory, you have the ego, you have the emotions, you have the intellect, many apps running on the basic software. Okay, I am not that either. Because it changes, I do not change. It is something that is observed. Drishya, clearly. I will not explain further. Same logic applies. I am the drashta. It is something that is insentient. I am sentient. I lend it light. Buddhi does not have light of its own. Because of these reasons, I am not the Buddhi. Nirvikara savikara, drashta drishya, chit jara. I'm not translating. Upanishad says, yes, even the intellect which you are using for all of this is a covering. Go deeper. The last part of the cave. And we are getting warm here in the sense that, the real self is now going to be revealed. We are eager to know. We don't know the Upanishad is going to pull a fast one on us right now. We have made this journey trusting in the Upanishad and Shankara and Vidyaranya. They have real surprise up their sleeves now. Next, the deepest part of the cave is called Anandamaya Kosha. The Anandamaya Atma first. What is that? It's not something we normally think about. What is, when you say intellect, most people understand what we mean once you point it out. It's that which gives clarity and understanding right now. Beyond that, something that we experience in deep sleep, for example, when you do not experience the physical world, you do not experience your own body, you do not even experience dreams in the mind, everything seems to shut down for you from your point of view. But that darkness, it's also a kind of experience. Try this now. Now your eyes are open, hopefully. It's sometimes a struggle to keep your eyes open in Vedanta. Your eyes are open. You can see so many things. Close your eyes. Now if I ask you, can you see anything? A normal answer will be no. But consider this fact. What has changed? Nothing really has changed. You've just drawn a lid of skin over your eyes. Your eyes are still functioning exactly as they were when your eyes were open, the eyelids were open. You can open your eyes now. When our eyelids are closed, our eyes are still functioning in the same way. They are actually, within quotes, seeing. But there's nothing to see because the light has been cut off by the eyelids. Exactly like that. When there is nothing to see, consciousness remains by itself, seeing the absence of things. Why is there nothing to see? Because the body has fallen asleep. You can't see things. You can't hear things, smell things, touch things. Because the mind has fallen asleep, you can't dream. So it's blank. Nothing is being presented to the awareness. So the awareness is aware of nothingness. Deep sleep is not an absence of experience. It's an experience of absence. Are you that darkness of deep sleep? It's called the Anandamaya, bliss sheet. Why it is called the bliss sheet? We'll not go into that. But it is. Now, are you that? I'm mentioning it normally. We don't even think about it, but I'm mentioning it for completion because the Upanishad mentions it. That also comes and goes. We go into it in sleep and we come out of it. That is also an object. Things are objects, and the absence of things is also an object. Do you agree? You're aware of the absence of things. You're all here. I see people. Now, if you had not come and the hall was empty, I would notice the absence of people. That's also an experience. So the absence of things is deep sleep. Absence of the experience of things is deep sleep. It's a kind of experience itself. So it is something experienced. I am the experiencer. Two cannot be the same. Sentience is on my side. You experience the darkness of deep sleep. You experience the absence of things. The absence of things does not experience you. When you put it that way, it seems very clear. Savikara, nirvikara, drashta, drishya, and chit jara. Because of these reasons, that final darkness, the deepest level of the caves, is also not you, is not the real I. That's also a sheath which covers us. Anandamaya kosha. Before we go further, now we are ready. Let's see. Take a look back into this series of caves we have traversed. There is the Annamaya Kosha, the food sheet. Let me demonstrate. What is the food sheet? This. And I'm rising. You can see this is the food sheet. Right. Then comes the Pranamaya Kosha. The energy which I use for raising and putting this hand down, that is the Pranamaya Kosha. It looks like I'm doing Tai Chi or something. So that is the Pranamaya Kosha, the energy which I use. And the thought, Shall I raise my hand? Shall I put my hand down? These options which are coming in Sanskrit, sankalpa, vikalpa. That is the mind. Follow, just not intellectually, actually see it. When I say see the body, it's not an intellectual understanding only. You're actually experiencing it. Similarly, experience the breath. Similarly, experience the mind, which is thinking now. That is manomaya kosha. The thought, am I right? Will I raise my hand? Will I put it down? And the decision taken. I am raising my hand. It's going on right now in my mind. That I am raising my hand. I am putting it down. That's the intellect. Okay. See how subtle we have become. Push further back, you will hit a blankness. I remember this old monk when I was a novice many, many years ago, 25 years ago, in a place called Deoghar. This old Swami, I can tell you his name, Vidyadhar Maharaj, Swami Nirlepananda. He was a very wonderful Swami. A very strange old man. He had a stutter. One day he was telling me, I didn't know all this at that time. He was teaching me, and now I realize. He said, like, body and mind and intellect, beyond that. And I said, Swami, beyond that, I can't, there's nothing. I understand all this. If you say deeper than that, subtler than that, nothing. And I still remember, so vivid in me, like he was short, with big blazing eyes. He's immediately, we were walking, he stopped, he swung around at me and he said, yes, yes, that's it. Beyond that darkness, that which shines beyond that darkness, hold on to that. In Bengali, he was Marathi, but he knew Bengali. So he said, with a little cute stutter he had, you can't catch hold of that, but you are that, basically. He was pointing to that. So you are not even that darkness, that Anandamaya Kosha. The intellect which says, I am raising the hand, that's the intellect. And beyond that, the joy which might come out of raising the hand, that is the Anandamaya, the sheath of bliss, Anandamaya Kosha. You might say, why would joy come out of raising the hand? Visit a physiotherapy unit, you'll know why. Oh, you will know. Yes. So that joy which comes, that is the Anandamaya Kosha. None of that I am. They are the 5 sheets, the 5 levels of the human personality. And by the way, let me say something which is not in the Upanishads or any book. This is something to be learned. The Upanishads, Vedanta are actually, it may seem stunning to many people, are actually not interested in the 5 sheets. They are using them as steps to point out something which will come now. To take your mind. When this person points out the Arundhati star to the bride, tree, branch, bright star, dim star, all of that. Is he really interested in the tree or the branch? If that girl gets, oh, it's a very nice tree and a branch, let me take a picture of that. No, will you pay attention? We are not, don't stop here. They have nothing to do with the Arundhati star. Similarly, what Vedanta is going to point out now, that's the point. Not the 5 sheets. Don't get hung up on that. Use them as ladders. Use them very simply like this. Annamaya. Pranamaya. Just move deeper. These thoughts which are coming, these words, Manomaya, the understanding or lack of understanding, that's Vijnanamaya. Beyond that darkness, Anandamaya. Move like that, very quickly. Now, we are ready for the Upanishad to reveal to us who we are and ready to be liberated here, now, today in Cleveland, to become enlightened. And you know what the Upanishad does? What the teacher does? The teacher keeps quiet. Quiet. Tell me. We are like, tell me. What's happening here? What's happening here? To explain this, I usually at this point tell an old Indian tale, which is very, very profound. But it's a simple story. Most people in India know it. The story of the 10 friends who crossed a river. 10 friends, they crossed a river. They're going from one village to another. They cross a river, walk across it. Not very deep. But once they are across, one of them thinks that, did we all cross or did anybody drown? Let me count. And he counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh my God, that can't be right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh no, our friend has drowned. The 10th man is drowned. Others say, no, that can't be right. And they count. Each of them counts only 9, finds 9. And they sit down and they bewail the fact, the loss of their friend. And while a wise person walks past and says, why are you crying, my friends? Oh, sir, we have a tragedy. We had 10 persons who, we had 10 friends, and now our friend, the 10th person, has drowned. How do you know? Because he must have counted and seen there were 10. How do you know? We counted, sir. Well, let me tell you, the 10th person is there. Very important. They say, no, where? I'll tell you. But accept, relax, stop crying. 10th person is there. That's what the Guru does. That's what the Upanishad does. It comes along and tells you, you are the Atman. Where? I don't see it. Wait, I'll show you. God exists. Brahman, Atman, whatever you call. Religion, spirituality is true. Where? I don't see it. Believe. For the time being, I'll show you. In the Himalayas, they have a nice saying. Do hi raste hain. There are only two paths. Jano ya mano. Either you know it or believe it. If you get it, good for you. If you don't get it, all right, believe. Faith. In this country, we say religion is faith. That's not the whole truth. When you come to Vedanta, it's not really faith. Faith is second best. Much better is to know it. Get clarity about it. Even if you realize it and become enlightened, nothing like it. That's the whole purpose. But even if we do not realize, even if we don't walk out of here as Buddhas, with a little Buddha smile on your face, even if that does not happen, at least let's walk out of here with a clarity of understanding. Yes, Buddhi, Vijnanamaya. Let's have it that level at least. Then the wise person tells them, count, just humor me. So they line up and one person starts counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I told you. And this wise man comes and catches hold of his hand and swings it around. Dashamas Twamasi, thou art the 10th. Thou art the 10th. This man goes, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Oh my God. 10. The 10th person has been found. Oh, Jai. The 10th person is alive. The others say, let me try. And they also try it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my God, the 10th person is there. We may laugh at them, but that's exactly what we are doing. Now, this 10th person, getting the 10th person, is the process. What you have to do is, you have to sit quietly, observe, stay with the physical body for maybe 30 seconds, 1 minute. Then stay with the breath for 30 seconds, 1 minute or 2 minutes, breathing in and breathing out. Then go to the mind, thoughts coming and going. Then go into the intellect. Same thing, part of the mind, different function. Understanding, not understanding, whatever it is, that's the intellect. The ego, which says, I am doing this Vedanta, that's also part of the mind. Beyond that, try to go, you will hit a blankness. If you hit a blankness, don't worry, you're on the right track. You're at the deepest level of the cave. Now, be the 10th person. Make that turn. Who or what is observing all of this? Don't try to catch it. You'll never ever catch it. You are it. Before you try it, there are certain helps. Very powerful. Let me point that out to you and rest my case. After that, we'll take questions. I'm sure I've run out of time completely. We have. But doesn't matter. We are doing well. And come back tomorrow? No, you'll go. All right. Here are a couple of aids which will be very useful. Let me ask you this question. That person, why could he not find the 10th person? Why could he not find the 10th pass? Tell me. He was not counting himself. That's why he couldn't find the 10th person. Why was he not counting himself? Think about it. Because he's looking outside. Very good. Now one more question. It relates entirely to our lives. Because he has a strong, it relates entirely to our lives. Because outside, he has a strong case. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are outside. They are objects. 10th one also has to be outside. By logic, by my entire life's experience, they are all outside. So the 10th branch also should be there. This is what is happening to us. Everything that we experience is an object. Drishya. We have never really thought about the experiencer. You know what we have done is, we have taken part of the object, part of the objective world. What part? Body, mind, intellect, to be the subject. But as we clearly see, body, mind, intellect are also objects. The body is an object, the prana is an object, the mind is an object, the intellect is an object, and beyond that, the vagueness, blankness, darkness, that's also an object. We have taken it to be ourselves. We have taken the pancha kosha to be the Atma. Upanishad says they are kosha, they are coverings. Remember, the real Atman is not out there. It's not even here. It's not even here. It's not even here. It's the one which is experiencing all of them. That one, don't ever try to capture as an object. You will never find it. Because it's the one which is looking. Vidyaranya, 3 observations, I'll end here. Vidyaranya Swami, after concluding this whole journey, he says, see, when you come to this, he says, the Atman is not to be experienced, not because it does not exist, because it is not an object of experience. The 10th person is not found, not because the 10th person is dead. It's because the 10th person is not an object to be found. It is the counter, the one who is counting. In the case of 10th person, it's easy to point out. In the case of the Atman, there's nobody who can physically turn your hand and say, this is the Atman. You have to catch it yourself intuitively. One of the best phrases I've heard is Sri Ramakrishna says, Bodhe Bodhkara. Consciousness, awareness being aware of itself. Consciousness illumining itself. So that's one point. The Atman, Satchidananda, infinite existence consciousness, Satchidananda, existence consciousness bliss, is not experienced as an object because it is not an object. It is the subject. It is the real you. That's why it's not experienced, not because it does not exist. One point. Second point is, all right, I understand. It's some kind of a pure object, pure subject. It's not an object. Whatever it is, how can I experience it? Same question again in another way. How can I experience it again? Now, Vidyaranya makes a very beautiful comment here. He says, what is experience? You want to experience the self, right? The real self. So you can experience the body. You can experience the pancha kosha. You want to experience the real self, yourself as infinite existence consciousness? Yes, that's what I want. What is experience? It's consciousness plus an object. Look at this microphone. Consciousness plus an object. That's experience. My words. Consciousness plus the sounds. That's an experience. Your own thoughts. Consciousness plus the thought. That's an experience. So consciousness plus something is called an experience. Now, he gives an example. He says to make anything sweet, you have to add sugar. Water is there, it tastes sweet, added sugar. Milk is there, tastes sweet, you added sugar. Lemonade is there, tastes sweet, you added sugar. Now he says, what should you add to sugar to make it sweet? Because what is the rule? Remember, you have to add sugar to make something sweet. Now, what should you add to sugar to make it sweet? The only answer is sugar is sweet by itself. It lends its sweetness to other things. Similarly, consciousness is revealed by itself. It reveals other things which cannot be revealed by themselves. Awareness reveals it. What does awareness reveal? It reveals to you the whole. It reveals to you your own body. It reveals to you your own breath. It reveals to you your own thoughts, even these words. It reveals to you your own understanding. It reveals to you the darkness beyond that understanding, that blankness. What is it in itself? You need not add something else to make it experienceable. It is always experienced. In every experience, consciousness is experienced. Atman is experienced in every experience. Kena Upanishad says, Pratibodha Veditam Matam Amritatvam Hivindate. The one who realizes this Satchidananda, oneself as pure consciousness. When? In every experience. When you're walking, talking, meditating, not meditating, driving, every experience is an experience of Brahman. And you, not theoretically, actually. One who realizes that attains immortality. That's Kena Upanishad. Last point is humorous. 3 observations. First is, the Atman is not to be found not because it does not exist, because it's not an object. Second is, don't try to experience the Atman. What is experiencing? Adding something to consciousness. Consciousness itself need not be added to consciousness. It is self-revealed, like sugar is sweet by itself. Third point is little humorous. There is a nihilist who says the Atman does not exist. There's no such thing as the Atman. Now remember, in ancient India, the debates were between 2 sides. You try to prove something, the other opponent tried to disprove you. So the one who wants to prove something, you're called Siddhante, the one who has a proposition to prove, literally. The one who is trying to disprove it is called Purva Pakshi, opposing side. Pakshi does not mean. Paksha means a side. Siddhanta Paksha, Purva Paksha, opponent. So one of the opponents is a person who says there is no such thing as the Atman. The self, what you're talking about, there's no such thing. It's just speculation. Why does he say there's no such thing? Because already we have admitted body I am not, because of the reasons. We gave reasons, remember? What are the reasons? Savikara Nirvikara, Drashta Drishya, Chidjara. These 3 reasons at least, many more. Because of these reasons, I am not the body, I am not the breath, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not the Anandamaya, the blankness beyond the intellect. So none of them I am. But beyond this, I do not find any self. So the self does not exist. That conclusion the nihilist tries to push. Now Vidyaranya says, it's a very humorous way of bringing the whole subject to an end. He says, if the self does not exist, that's your proposition? Yes. Then you don't exist. Because you are the self. You don't exist. So I don't have an opponent. I need not answer this question. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Can we take a few questions? A couple of questions maybe, quick. Yes.
You can use the microphone.
Difficult to send the microphone. I can hear you. I'll repeat the question. I know it's being broadcast, so I'll repeat the question for the internet audience. Yes, there's a question. Tell us your name.
My name is Michael. So I'm not sure how much relevant it is, but in Brahmananda, we have the allegory of the bird, and for each sheet, descriptions are given for the being.
Yeah.
So is there an implication point?
Yes, that's the way it is shown. Like in the end, it says Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. The tail is the support. So in every level, 5 levels, they talk of the bird, the center of the bird, the 2 wings of the bird, the head of the bird, and the tail, which is seen as the support of the bird. And then they go, because this allegory, remember, there's a reason behind it. This is Taittiriya Upanishad. And Tittiri is actually a kind of bird. So that forms a kind of paradigm they use. I did not go into that. But basically the teaching is exactly what I said. So actually the Upanishad teaches in a very beautiful, poetic way. I didn't go into that. We're using the paradigm of the 2 wings of a bird, the trunk of the bird, and the tail of the bird. So for example, in the last one, Anandamaya, it says Brahma Pucham Pratishtha. The tail of the bird is Brahman. Now what do you mean tail of the bird is Brahman? Where is this Brahman? And then it goes into that Brahman is not an object like the 10th man. It doesn't tell the 10th man story. So that's the paradigm the Taittiriya Upanishad uses. Yes. Oh, that reminds me, one more thing I should tell. Just mention it. Otherwise, I would not be completing my... I gave a very... In America, you gave a very tailored down, pared down version, Taittiriya Upanishad Light. Taittiriya Upanishad Light. There's one thing I did not point out, which is fundamental to Vedanta. You know, when you go through this process, what is the feeling you're left with? Deep within me, subtlest of subtle, there is a kind of light which is consciousness, and Upanishad is telling me I am that consciousness, an unchanging consciousness, the pure subject. What about the rest of it? What about the world? What about the body you left? What about the Panchakosha? What about them? The Upanishad actually at every step shows you that it is one reality which is appearing as many. And in fact, at the end, when you realize yourself as the pure consciousness, you're also told it is that very pure consciousness which is Brahman, which is the reality of this entire universe. So first you separate yourself from the 5 sheets and in understanding. Separate yourself from the 5 sheets in understanding, as we did just now. This is called a neti-neti. But once you have understood what you are, that pure witness consciousness, then what about the rest of it? What is all this that you are experiencing? Are they separate from you? No, the Upanishad says actually not. They are you. You alone appear as those by Maya. You are Brahman, which appears as all of this, all of which you experience in yourself. I'll leave you with a hint. Right now, you're experiencing all of this. How are you experiencing all the people, the room, your body, your mind, all of it? Are you experiencing at 2 distinct things, that I am a kind of light which is going out to something outside me and illuminating it? That's one case. Like this light is coming out and illuminating the room. That's one case. The second case is, aren't you experiencing everything in your awareness? 2 cases. Objects are outside, awareness is here, awareness goes like light and illumines the objects. That's one. Object and awareness are separate things. That's what we have been saying till now. The second one is awareness is here, global, in which the object shines. Look at your experience. Yes, these objects are outside your body. But body and object, are they not both in your awareness? Somebody asked in the Uttarakhand, you see, this is how they think. Somebody asked, all-pervading consciousness. One Swami in the audience, he said, it was in Hindi going on. Wait a minute. You should ask bold questions. Wait a minute. What is this all-pervading consciousness? In Hindi, Sarvabhyapi. I am here. I don't even pervade this particular carpet, let alone the entire room, let alone being all-pervading. I am here, not even there. The person is telling the teacher. How can I be all-pervading? You know what the teacher's answer is? Very simple and direct answer. Those answers themselves can lead you to enlightenment. I am here and not there. And the teacher's answer was, but here and there, are they not both in your awareness? See, distance is created by space. But even the awareness of space, look at the words, awareness of space. Space is in your awareness. Our normal idea is, I am a body with consciousness in it. Vedanta wants you to say, you are consciousness with a body. Body is in consciousness, not consciousness in body. And the incredible thing is, that's how you experience life right now. You are experiencing your body in consciousness. It's not the body experiencing consciousness. Okay. So ultimately, it is one reality, and that is that consciousness. That's what I wanted to say. Otherwise, it would not be complete. It would not be non-dual. All right. We'll just take that question. In dreams? Oh, for all of that, you should come tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about that. But anyway, ask the question. Sushupti is that Anandamaya kosha. Atma is beyond that. If you can grasp that, you've got it. You're pretty close. Don't worry. You've made it. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I think we should bring it to a close.
I have one question.
Okay, you have a question. He's the host.
I don't know whether I'm confused whether I should take it as Jnana or Mana. Jnana or Mana. So it seems like our life is a package deal where we will be getting these Brahman or ultimate consciousness if we are born. If we are not born, it's not there.
Oh, it's always there. If you're awake, it's there. It's because of that consciousness you say, I'm awake. If you're not awake, you're in deep sleep. That's also an experience. You're born with what is being born. It is the subtle body coming into a physical body. Consciousness is always there. Right? So the Vedantic idea of the self, today we just saw food, the food sheet, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya. Okay, I can explain that way. And beyond that, the Atman, or underlying all of that, the Atman. It is the Atman with Anandamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Pranamaya. This is the Jivatman. Let's say each individual being. The infinite Atman itself limited by Anandamaya, Vijnanamaya, Manomaya, Pranamaya. That is what leaves the body when the body dies. Atman remains as it is. The three Vijnanamaya, Manomaya, Pranamaya, and the Karana Sharira, which is Anandamaya, they leave the physical body, dead body, and then they go to other bodies. That's what we call birth. Consciousness is always there. Brahman is always there. It really has nothing to do with the birth and death are of the body. Birth and death are of the body. Again, don't look as if you've learned something profound. Oh, birth and death of the body. Of course. You don't need Vedanta to learn that.
So we are not multiplying.
We are not multiplying. Who is the we? Always careful. Who is the we? Body multiplying? Yes. 7 billion people, body is definitely multiplying. Thoughts multiplying? Yes, thoughts multiplying.
Is it getting diluted?
What is the what? Again, stick to the question. We are not multiplying. What is the we? If you're saying Atman, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, the infinite Brahman, is it multiplying? No. Where is the proof of that? What is multiplying are bodies. All right. Just ask. Okay, both of you just ask. I might not answer today.
We talk about rebirth.
Yes.
And it's a huge universe. Why is rebirth? Why are we stuck on this planet?
Okay, talk about rebirth. It's a huge universe. Why are we stuck on this planet? So there is, what you call reincarnation, punarjanma, that is there, and there is cosmology there, and also NASA is involved there. Because why are we stuck on this planet? There are many experiences. In Vedanta, they speak about many lokas, and we have gone through many experiences in the past, and we will keep going through all of them until you decide to return the book to the library. As long as you keep reading the book of life, you'll have many experiences. And you'll get to see many lokas also. Many words. Question, last.
Swamiji, in your guided meditation, I think you go sheet by sheet, because first they say body, then pranayama, then the mind intellect, then goes to the infinite Atma. When they say Atma is Nitya, Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, why is this tendency to cling to the subtle body? And
why is this tendency? Well, there is a tendency. One reason, you know why? The real reason, according to Vedanta, is because we do not know ourselves as the Atma. Avidya, the answer is ignorance. Because the proof, the moment you know this, Swami, I know it now. Well, good for you, but that knowing will not help. Why? It will help. It will help a great deal, but it's not enough. Why? They say, Paroksha Jnana, I can't translate it to English, it's too precise. Paroksha Jnana is not enough to remove Aparoksha Jnana. Direct ignorance, which is experienced right now, that can't be removed by a kind of knowing that such a thing exists. You have to know it. I am that thing. The moment you realize, it's not enough to say the 10th man is alive. That person who's counting has to realize, oh, that aha moment has to come. I am the 10th man. Then that ignorance will be removed. So why do we keep clinging to this idea that the 10th man is dead? Because even if I hear 10th man is alive, you're saying it, but there. I am that one. Don't catch it. It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Even when the body goes, there is a promise. You will clearly see that you are not gone. You'll see. Even that's not the proof of the Atman. That's the proof that there is something that survives the body. That is the subtle body. the Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and the Karana Sharira Anandamaya. All right. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanam Astu. Thank you very much. And I would like to mention, is the birthday boy still here? So is he here? Rice Khan. All right. So there was somebody who's, what is the birthday of the body? Atman has no birthday. Thank you.
A small request, during the dinner, Swamiji will sit first, and after he says Brahmarpanam, then all of you please start.
Okay, thank you everyone for attending today. Please don't forget, there's a second lecture tomorrow by Swamiji. Yeah, it's from 3 p.m. 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. in Solon, and all the information is available at the front desk. So we have flyers and directions for everybody and anybody who would like to come and attend. Please do come, and that will be. It seems like Swamiji already hinted that it will be a continuation of what he talked about today from a newer perspective. And thank you again, Swamiji. And as somebody who does work for NASA, I just want to mention, yes, we're working on that planetary
But I think they might have some.
I'm glad you all came. It's wonderful to have Swamiji among us. So we have some food over here in the back. Swamiji can say the prayers for us. And then please, we have people in the back who will help you serve. And Swamiji, I think, yes. And then,
This is from the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Remember this, we always chant this before food, but it has really nothing to do with eating. In the sense that it has to do with all actions, seeing Brahman in all actions. Om Brahma Rapanam Brahma Hari Brahmagno Brahmana Hutam Brahmeva Dena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Exactly so many times to ask him because they didn't say they are going to save any file or anything. Let me go for this.
Yeah.